I asked Frank Capra about how he kept making all those movies and seemed never to have a problem with the people in the front office. And his advice was, make them think they're involved. Very important. It's not your ball. It's their ball, and they're letting you play with it. So keep that in mind when you say, I'm sorry, the wall's got to be blue, or it makes no sense to make the movie. That doesn't mean that you sell out, but that means that you listen and make them feel involved. The whole time is very important, from casting the actors to casting the crew to finding the locations, to going to the locations beforehand to rehearse with your cast and to video that, just the way you figure you're going to shoot it, and put it together, edit it, and look at it before you go and do it for real. That way, you look and you say, you know, I don't like that so much. I think we ought to do it, and why doesn't he look out the window on that line? Rather than waiting till the circus is there, and now it's done, and now you're sitting there looking at it and saying, oh, God, now what do I do? Well, you do it beforehand. There's a terrific movie that Truffaut made about making movies called Day for Night. Recommend it to anybody who's serious about wanting to know what it's like to direct. That is a terrific movie, Day for Night. People are constantly asking you questions because they want to please you and they want to do their job well, and the prop guy or gal wants to make sure that when the actor reaches for the book, that's the book that you, the director, had in mind. And he doesn't want to hear, that's not the right book. It should be a paperback. Well, I don't have a paperback. Well, I can't shoot the scene. Right? So you want all that stuff worked out. And those folks make a huge contribution and encourage suggestions. Say now, get everybody together and say now, anytime anybody has an idea, I don't want you to whisper, gee, why isn't he looking out the window, for Christ's sakes? Tell me. I may not take the idea, and that doesn't mean you shouldn't give me the next one. Because if I like it, it's going to make it better, and I'll get credit for it anyway. So encourage people to contribute their ideas. And if you've done a good job in selecting the right people, you'll get some good ideas. When I read the script, I realized it was going to be a real low budget, less than $1 million. I had no idea how we were going to do him running up the stairs, because you know, we weren't going to have a crane, and you know, you could do it from a tripod. That would be a snore, and you know, so I had no idea. And my assistant cameraman, who I'd done a lot of stuff with, Ralph Hotchkiss, said, "Hey, my friend has a new camera rig, and he's got a reel, a 5-10 minute reel. Would you take a look at it?" I said, "Sure." So here's Garrett Brown and his then girlfriend, now wife, Ellen, with Ellen running up the stairs of the art museum, because they happen to be from Philadelphia. They had no idea about the script or there was such a scene. So I'm sitting there looking at this and I'm saying, oh, do I know where this is going to go? And that's how that came to be. So first we had to find somebody who knew what the heck the tea ceremony was all about. So a lady came in and did this whole thing, and it's really quite a ballet again. Okay, so we shot that, and that all went well. And then we had to move on. But I wanted coverage. I wanted close-ups on each of them, close-ups of the hand doing the whatever, and we didn't have time to do that in Hawaii. And at a certain point, we came back to Burbank, with these various shots that we still needed. So I remember we were in Northridge shooting the final tournament, and that's where we did a lot of those inserts. We had this piece of corrugated metal that we brought from Hawaii, and that went behind them. And there wasn't any sound because there were just looks and stuff. And that's over the course of the 2 or 3 days that we were shooting the final tournament. Whenever we had a little extra time, we'd go out and shoot some more stuff out in the parking lot to cut into the master scene. And I think it worked. In the book, The Power of One, PK goes through his passage to terrifichood by climbing up a waterfall. And I couldn't figure out how in the world we were ever going to get this little 7 or 8-year-old kid crawling up this waterfall that's like straight up without getting him killed or hurt, or without such an elaborate routine of track and harnesses and God knows what. It would take forever. And it just didn't seem to be in the cards. So I came up with the elephant idea, that they would get a trained elephant that wouldn't step on the kid, and get the elephant to run up to the kid, and the kid doesn't flinch, and they get the trunk to come out, and he shakes hands with the trunk, and he stands up to a big elephant. People liked that idea, and that's what we did. I got fired too many times. I turned down scripts that I wish I hadn't. Folks who say, oh, I have no regrets. I don't know. They're from another planet. I have a lot of them. So my advice to the perspiring director is to listen, stick by your guns, but be diplomatic, and prepare like the Boy Scouts. Be prepared.